You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
In My Humble Opinion, IMHO Talk Show. Brother Aaron Simmons is in the building with us.
Yes, sir.
With Charles and Razor. And we are here doing what we do. How you feeling, C-Ville? Man, all right. So September's coming to a close, y'all. Fall is officially here. And like I was saying, I spent some time in the Windy City this past week, y'all. Love to travel. I know you brothers do too. Aaron, where were you at last? Where'd your travels take you last, man?
Orlando, MIAO for a little bit, Savannah, a lot of places, man. A lot of places.
Man, he bragging.
No, I ain't bragging. This is where I was at.
But I said last, and the brother gonna name like 3 cities.
Yeah, right. I did put a little sauce on it. I did. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Let me see. I went to Burger King. I went to Marshalls. I went to child support place. That pretty much cover everything for me.
Hey, well, you got to. I'm proud of you. Because you better take care of that before you travel.
Yes,
because if they hear you traveling and you ain't pay that child support, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Nah, man, but
I can't with this dude.
but let me tell you though, guys, besides, why business took me there, here's one thing that stood out to me, and it's a great segue to our first news headline. All right, because in the lobby area of the conference center, right, news playing. Y'all know how it is. You go into a restaurant, you go to hotel, wherever you may be, and the news is always playing, right? So y'all know what was a hot thing for the past little while here has been a top news topic with Me Too movement, particularly Trump's nomination for Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, and and so on and so forth. So what was bothering me so much about it, y'all, was that this was an international conference. You feel me? And so there was just so many people that were just stopping and looking at this TV and just like looking at us and then just shaking their head because
you mean Americans?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So the people who were over here visiting were looking at the Americans like, this is what's running on the news 24/7. It's like, is this what y'all are now? You know what I mean? Like, and then and not even just civilians dealing with it, but your president wants to put this guy in such a high position. So it just looked bad from that standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I felt it to my core because I could see the people watching the news and then just like the look on their face, couldn't believe it.
And the funny thing for me is, some of the religions that he came against, that he said, they believe in this, they treat the women this way. He's doing the exact same thing. It's almost like Kanye making music.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put out something so crazy and just look at you like, I don't understand. This world is a trip.
Right. And with Kavanaugh and with so many others who have not been convicted, so you know where I'm going with it. The ones who have not been convicted yet, there's these excuses. They were just frat boys. They were kids. Everybody grows up, or like she's looking for attention, and it's just because of his position she's saying these things. So we see some of the population getting all these excuses being made, and so far no convictions. Now, let me turn the corner, if I may. And I want to start this by saying, brothers, and being that we got 3 brothers in here right now, I want us to be as real as possible. And I want to take this from a standpoint that a lot of news outlets have not. At least I have not heard people talking about this, which is being a black man of our age spectrum and growing up, right? And whether you saw the reruns of things like Fat Albert, whether you saw the Cosby Show, whether you saw commercials, whether you saw the spinoffs of those shows, right? And then if you saw the civic work and the black self-respect that was portrayed and displayed, and the groundbreaking, career of William H. Cosby, right?
AKA Bill.
And Little Bill. I know your kids watch Little Bill.
I watch Little Bill.
Right.
My kids still watch Little Bill.
Right. So the thought that I want our listeners to think about and send us their input, and I want y'all to mull over as well, Aaron and Razor, is that how swift and how hard that fall from grace can be. particularly as a black man who's looked at as someone outstanding, but then a mistake can just take it all away. And even though you're in the midst of a movement right now to where a lot of women are gaining the support needed, to speak out on injustices done to them. As a black man, also still being a poster child to be able to say you're getting convicted before anybody else.
Yeah.
And your crimes were longer ago than everybody else, but that doesn't matter. You're getting convicted first. And this conversation, unless y'all want to take it there, is not even about who actually did what and who we feel like was telling the truth. This is about the man Bill Cosby and what he means to black men in black America.
Well, I would also say that one thing that a friend and I were talking about, let's be very clear that Bill Cosby, you can say Tiger Woods, you can name a bunch of these celebrities, unfortunately, that have had that downfall. They all of them have something that's very in common. And that is that there are large numbers of white females involved in it. That's a fact. Now, I need y'all to tell me, am I incorrect about that?
No.
That is an absolute fact. And so I think that, the unfortunate thing, another thing about Mr. Cosby, even his downfall, is that let's remember one thing specifically. He paid a civil suit for this same case. What was it, Razor? 10, 12 years ago or something like that?
For like, 3.1 million or 1.3 million or something like that.
He was not criminally prosecuted at that time. He was criminally prosecuted, what is this, almost 13, 14 years later. So, you asked for money in the beginning. This has nothing to do with right or wrong, but let's be clear. You asked for money in the beginning. Now, you want him to be criminally prosecuted. My only question was, how come he was not criminally prosecuted for this crime, whether he did it or not then? That's my only point. Because at one point, it was good to get money, but now I want him to be punished. Justice and money are not the same thing.
Yeah, and one reason I wanted us to point these, like all of these different, sort of molecular pieces of this atom is because to the current generation, I feel like that Bill Cosby has become a symbol of these accusations, and these charges.
That's because they don't know his work.
Right, and that's my point. Yeah. So it reminds me a lot of you can even say someone like Michael Jackson, and there's so many people out there to where if you didn't experience or if you didn't live through, like the memorable or even say the good parts, it's like they become just this sort of afterthought and sort of this punchline. Right. Like they become this hashtag. And that's why I wanted to pose to y'all on how did you feel?
He did this but.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, but I still want to pose that question again. I appreciate that perspective, Aaron, but also as a black man though, and like I said, growing up through all those positive images, of Bill Cosby. For instance, a lot of people don't know that after the TV show A Different World came out, HBCU enrollment skyrocketed.
Absolutely.
That's why I went to one.
Right.
I mean, that's why I went. I mean, essentially, Mr. Cosby, you could take it back to Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again and all his early specials and things of that nature. He had a high level of black self-respect. I mean, we just have to be honest about it.
Right.
You might not have agreed with how he went about doing it. A lot of people had problems with Pull Up Your Pants and the hip-hop, but let's be honest. Yeah. Some of that stuff we can actually agree with to a certain extent. Right.
Somebody needs to say it.
Exactly. Somebody needs to say it. And also, he has Mr. Cosby at one point, and listeners, you can go look this up. Look up Bill Cosby and his thoughts on Islam. He supported the Fruit of Islam. He supported the Nation of Islam, too. So there's a lot of different moving parts, but, it's unfortunate, if some of these things that he allegedly did, are out there, it's just very unfortunate. And he's paying for crimes he's paying for crimes. Now, I think a lot of us, my perspective on him did not change because what he was attempting to do for blacks in entertainment, I can't question that.
I think it all came once he decided he was going to try to buy NBC.
I was thinking that too.
He, there's certain things that I'm being honest. This is Razor talking. This isn't anybody else. There's certain things that I'm starting to accept that I wish I couldn't. That regardless of what your position of power is or how much money you have, you're still a black man. Like, there's nothing that you can do that's going to get you away from the persecution of being a black man. Now, I don't want to be like that, and I definitely don't want to put that on to my kids. But it's hard to it's like the sting of it wasn't there. I didn't get sad like when they convicted him and then they running him through the mud and all these other people getting free and all they doing is losing their job. I just looked at it as like, he's still a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that you've done doesn't, you know, like put you away from that, and I'm becoming okay with that, and I wish I wasn't.
I feel you. Yeah. And the thing about that to me is that it was that mug shot, the last one with him looking down with the suspenders on. Yeah. That right there was the first time in all of this, honestly, you know, because I've had my opinion, and I, you know, and I may have debated about, you know, who's right and wrong, and you know, facts of the case, things like that. But you know, it's always one of those things, you know, to where like you don't learn, you know, or you don't miss something until it's gone. You know, like that whole mindset of, you know, you kind of thought in the back of your head, or you know, it's gonna work out, or you know, or they'll find you know innocence or something, you know, because you wanted to wish the best for someone who was such a role model, right? But the mugshot though, when I saw it, it hit me where it felt like I was looking at my brother, like I went to visit my brother behind, or my dad behind bars. That's really how I felt. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew that everything was going to go bad a long time ago. There was an interview that Steve Harvey did. And Steve Harvey came up underneath Bill Cosby. A lot of people don't understand that. Steve Harvey got on air and said that, you know, because he wasn't one of the ones that was out there trying to proclaim his innocence and say certain things. He said Bill came to him and said, stay away from this. You know, go ahead, live your life. Stay out of this. Right then, me being from my past, I knew.
You know what that means. Yeah.
Right, because Bill is a Philly dude. You know what I'm saying? He's so certain thing. When he said that, I said he's guilty. But I never said it out publicly. But I already knew things were going to go bad for him.
The other thing, and Razor, I agree with that. And the one thing that I noticed that Mr. Cosby, and y'all correct me, I don't think he's ever brought anybody else into this other than himself.
No.
Never brought any other
stand-up soldier. I mean,
I'm not saying if he's committed crime. And I have to say one thing. If we are debating about Mr. Cosby and how he's portrayed, that doesn't mean that we're supporting him and the alleged things he might have done. But I'm saying, but Razor, you know why I had to say that? Because literally there are individuals and human beings out there that'll literally say, "Oh, you guys are supporting Cosby."
Well, I mean, they did at the Kaepernick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Kaepernick. So, you know, with my I can't think.
As a head coach,
this man took a knee for black people being slain, and they turned it into the flag. So they do that like with no problem. Anything that we say, anything that we do, they feel can be adjusted to the way they want it to be portrayed. And when I say they, I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about the people in power, whoever that may be at that time.
So, Charles, I'll say this, and then y'all let me know. Thomas Jefferson is described as a person that had he was a complex man.
Complex.
He was very complex.
Yeah, complex.
Even though all his crimes and his positions and everything have been documented. Right. Are we willing to put Mr. Cosby on the complex? Is he complex? I'm just saying that's something to think about. You know, we have U.S. presidents, and I'm not doing this I'm just saying people are described as complex. What makes somebody complex? You can't pick and choose anything.
Hugh Hefner was a complex man.
Wasn't he, Razor?
He hung with Bill and Hugh hung together 24/7. You think they stopped hanging together when the pants hit the floor? You know, when the drinks came out? I mean, come on, man. Like, people full of it, man.
Yeah. So how about we take a quick break, y'all? Thanks for listening. Remember to hit us up during the break if you feel so moved. But stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. It's going to pay a couple of bills. IMHO.
Take your speed dial 434-422-9101. Bookmark your browser 101jamc.com and turn up your radio to 101.3.
My station.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams. 101.3 Jams wants to stick you, get stuck, and win $1. That's right. Win $100 if we spot your vehicle with our sticker on it. Pick up your sticker now at our studio, 394 Hillsdale Drive. Plan 9 Music, Larry's Barber Shop, and a cut above in the Cherry Avenue Plaza.
Been Around Tattoo, 703 West Main Street in Charlottesville supports this station and invites you to the 26th Annual Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival, the weekend of September 29th. The festival is produced by Jesse Smith and Kenny Brown and will feature over 150 artists from around the world, including celebrity artists from Spike TV's Ink Masters and Ink Master Angels. The 26th Annual Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival will feature on-site tattooing plus local bands and DJs all weekend at the Midlothian Doubletree Inn, 1021 Coger Center Boulevard in Richmond, with accommodations available at the hotel. More information, directions, and full artist lineup is available at rvatattooarts.com. That's the 26th Annual Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival, the weekend of September 29th.
Special Touch Cleaning supports this station. Is cleaning your business? If it isn't, then why do you spend so much time doing it? You don't have to, you know, not when there's an expert cleaning team out there that's been keeping area businesses, homes, and even vehicles clean for almost 25 years. Special Touch takes care of floors and carpets, windows and bathrooms, and can give your business just what it says in their name. You can Google Special Touch Charlottesville to get in touch, or you can call them at 823-8222. That's Special Touch Cleaning.
101 Jams is a non-profit community radio station. It is our mission to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with local and national news and events while providing you the best of classic and new hip-hop and R&B. The views expressed on 101 Jams belong to those expressing them and do not reflect the views or beliefs of 101 Jams, the board of directors, or its parent company, Air Mix Virginia. To find out more about how 101 Jams serves your community, visit our website, 101jamz.com or facebook.com/101 Jams.
Family means comfort and joy, except when it doesn't. For some people, time spent with family means yelling, degradation, intimidation, secrecy, and even emotional and physical abuse. As one of these people, you may feel isolated, as if you have nowhere to turn, but you are not alone. The Charlottesville Victim Witness Program is here for all victims of crime, no matter what the situation. Relationship violence crosses all cultural and economic lines, and so do we. No matter who you are or what your story is, we are here to listen, even to non-English speakers. Call the Charlottesville Victim Witness Program at 970-3176 for information about your options in the criminal and civil justice systems and community resources. You do not have to make a police report to receive our services. This message is sponsored by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Hi, I'm Damian Weaver from Anytime Fitness Pantops here in Charlottesville. If you're looking to get in shape or stay in shape, we got 2 locations in Charlottesville with plenty of cardio and resistance machines, plus free weights and functional equipment. We have group training classes, including yoga, and we're open 24/7 so you can work out on your own schedule. You can stop by the Pantops location for a 7-day pass. Anytime Fitness supports this station, and I invite you to call me personally at 971-5566 to let me show you why Anytime Fitness should be your gym. More is at anytimefitness.com/Charlottesville.
Since 1987, Rebecca's Natural Food has been offering selected local foods, essential vitamins, and beneficial supplements to our community. Rebecca's staff and ownership show their community involvement every day by assisting local schools, co-ops, and nonprofits and civic groups through donations and sponsorships. At Rebecca's, keeping local dollars local is what they do. Rebecca's Natural Food supports this station and invites you to check out this month's featured products by visiting Rebecca'sNaturalFood.com, calling them at 434-977-1965, or by stopping in to see them in the Barracks Road Shopping Center near Kroger and Hotcakes. That's Rebecca's Natural Food. Support for 101 Jams today is coming from Price Hyundai. You might not be able to choose all of life's adventures, but you can pick how to get to and from them. Price suggests a new for 18 Hyundai Elantra GT, a hatchback that has your back with a 2-liter direct injection engine and choice of 6-speed automatic or manual transmission. The Elantra GT has a full suite of safety features, an 8-inch display, 6-speaker audio system with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and full Bluetooth connectivity. And new for 18, 3 years Link notification included. The 18 Elantra GT can be seen now at Price Hyundai on 29 North and always at JimPriceHyundai.com.
Making the switch to vaping can be tough, but that's why Modern Smoking Solutions, Charlottesville's premier vape shop, is here to help. Locally owned and with a knowledgeable staff, Modern Smoking Solutions has the area's most extensive flavor selection and with large availability of the devices for you to choose from. Pride and integrity are what sets Modern Smoking Solutions apart from the rest. At Modern Smoking Solutions, excellent staff help you get started today. That's Modern Smoking Solutions. Open 7 days a week at 1921 Commonwealth Drive, Charlottesville and Stone Ridge Shopping Center. Be sure to check them out on Facebook. You can reach them at 434-882-VAPE.
Be sure to mention this ad for a discount on your next bottle of juice. Modern Solutions supports this station.
101 Jams is a non-profit community radio station. It is our mission to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with local and national news and events while providing you the best of classic and new hip-hop and R&B. The views expressed on 101 Jams belong to those expressing them and do not reflect the views or beliefs of 101 Jams, the board of directors, or its parent company, Air Mix Virginia. To find out more about how 101 Jams serves your community, visit our website, 101jamz.com or facebook.com/101 Jams.
101.3 Jams wants to stick you, get stuck, and win $1. That's right. Win $100 if we spot your vehicle with our sticker on it. Pick up your sticker now at our studio, 394 Hillsdale Drive, Plan 9 Music, Larry's Barber Shop, and a cut above in the Cherry Avenue Plaza. Keep it right here to Charlottesville's new classic hip-hop and R&B station, 101.3 Jams. You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
In my humble opinion, that's who we be. Charles Lewis.
No sign of proper English. I know if I say something, I know it's bad.
Oh, yo, wow. Man, so thanks for staying tuned, ladies and gentlemen. 422-9101 is the number. 434-422-9101, because we are streaming worldwide, but you can hit us up. Also, you can inbox us, IMHO Talk Show on Gmail. Send us a picture on Instagram if you want of your dial tuned in right now. We'd appreciate it. But hey, if you've been listening, you know that we've been talking current news headlines. Remember, stay tuned. 1 o'clock. We have the king of the throne room, Remy St. Clair, coming to talk about his revamping of his show and all he's got going on in the community, as well as Wife Talk Incorporated of Charlottesville and Generation 180 of Charlottesville. So stay tuned. But fellas, so we were talking about the unfortunate and the ugly downfall of one Bill Cosby, who over his career has done so much good. And I was posing as a black man, just how that alone made you feel, without even getting into who's right or wrong, who we believe is guilty or innocent, things of that sort. And as you mentioned, Aaron, we definitely want to be clear, give another disclaimer to where this is not about at all trying to blame or downplay sexual assault or blame the victim. The conversation is about just being who William H. Cosby was and us growing up within that.
Absolutely.
That's what the conversation is about and just what that means. So no disrespect at all to anyone. But then when we look at the Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh, and I'm looking at this man and just, I don't know if y'all saw any of it, but just how blatantly disrespectful he was. And I gotta say, it was like the ultimate show of white privilege that may offend someone, but it's the God's honest truth. I mean, like, he was just like, and there was one time where he shed some tears, could have been real, I don't know, but for the most part, he was just like back talking the whole time. He was interrupting. He was like irate and boisterous. He did not seem like someone who was trying to defend his innocence, and it just made me think of just the most privileged that that I could imagine. It wasn't about any sympathy for the young lady who was, pressing the charges.
Well, I think one thing is that whenever we see stuff like this in the mainstream media, particularly when it's advertised the way that it is, they saw this coming months ago. They knew it was coming down the pipe. The one thing that I find, and I agree with you, I think a more accurate word, Charles, may not be privilege. I think it would just be power.
I was on supremacy.
I was just going to say, I'm white and I say so. And this is what it is. But one of the things I found interesting is that I didn't even see this for Mr. Trump when we had a race. Remember the whole grab him by the thing? I mean, Mr. Kavanaugh has women making videos, coming forward publicly, saying, "Hey, he is not about that life. This guy is a man of upstanding reputation." I just find that so interesting. That I've never seen them do that for any. Y'all didn't even do that for President Trump. You didn't make videos and saying, "Hey, we're here to stand by his character and how he is as a family man." I even thought I heard somebody, one of those women, say, "Hey, look, he just touched her." I mean, really? And I'm sitting there saying, "Are you serious right now?"
Yeah,
but privilege is not the word. That's just power, and I think that this is just more. I think this is just more, unfortunately, of the normal behavior that we consistently see. Razor, you got it.
It's, man, like, all right. we're fortunate to where we have all types of people that listen to this show. So the last thing I want somebody to think that we're saying is that we're attacking white people or we're attacking or we're defending certain things. We're privileged enough to know as African American people that there's certain rules that apply and certain rules that don't apply when convenient. So when we mention these things, it disturbs me that people will look at you like, how can you form your mouth to say such a thing? You know, like it's the craziest thing. Disrespect Obama to no point. Say anything about Trump, you're unpatriotic. It's just, there is we always like to talk about there's no difference in people. There are a difference between white people and black people. There's a difference between different nationalities. It's just the reality of it. It's human nature to do certain abnormal things, you know what I'm saying? But the prosecution of these things, it's still like, that's why so many people say there's not much difference before the civil rights and now for African American people.
And I think we should definitely clarify, because there are a lot that's been going around on social media and in topics of conversation about how some people feel that the conversation is being made an racial issue in regards to, you know, Mr. Cosby being convicted and Kavanaugh and others have not. Because who was the first one? The guy that runs Miramax out in Hollywood.
The guy,
he was like the first one.
He got everybody.
A long time ago.
Terry Crews.
He did. Crazy.
I'm not laughing, but you said he got everybody.
He got everybody. Angelina Jolie.
I ain't that dumb.
He got everybody.
Gonna push Terry Crews, but. No, but you know, like so he's been out there. Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, so he's been out here for a minute.
That's what they do, and then we
wouldn't even remember
about it. Couldn't even forget about him.
Yeah. So, but my whole point with that is that this transition is showing in so many areas of life, because I wanted to talk about George Zimmerman as well and how the benefit of that. I don't know if y'all saw something in the news over the last week.
Razor, you talk about that.
but Aaron,
I'm gonna say something wrong.
But I'm gonna make sure that you know. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but this is for the folks out there who thinks that we may be pumping up racial biases. It's not. It's us telling it how it is, right? So for anybody who still is trying to say that the Confederate flag is not a symbol of hate or white supremacy, what have you, regardless of who, don't take me back to who stitched it and why they stitched it. We're talking about what it means today, right? So George Zimmerman is now at white supremacist rallies autographing Confederate flags.
Oh, and Skittles.
Yeah, that's right. Skittles and like bottles of tea too, I think, because Trayvon Martin had tea and Skittles. And now, so you got guys signing Skittles, tea, and flags, and you still want to tell me that man deserved to get, to be exonerated?
Yeah.
And it's not about race?
By the law, you know what I'm saying? He fell into that. I mean, let's be honest. There was a law that was written back when people had farmland, and the man might be out doing something, somebody show up to take his land, his wife, his kids. Somebody had a right to stand your ground. That's what it was based off of. And it's one of those laws that need to be changed.
For sure.
So, I mean, the origin of it was probably a good thing. But as time goes along, things change. People don't look back at these old laws, and then somebody finds a loophole to be able to use it to change history.
I just got one thing, man.
So you do got something. Go ahead, Aaron.
Black fathers and black mothers, just imagine the feeling you would have if somebody was out there mocking your son's murder.
Can't do it. I can't do it.
That's
bottom line. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Else, man.
Thank you for that. On somewhat of a lighter note, but sort of in the same vein, another good segue is that my man Tyrod Taylor got benched, and the Browns were looking pretty good. Yeah, he hadn't been totally on point, but Yeah, that one kind of hurt me. But you know why I segue that way though is because the Patriots starting off a little slow, right? And everybody knows that Tom Brady is supposed to be the golden child, greatest thing since Joe Montana, Dan Marino, all that, Elk, all that good stuff. So here's the thing that stood out about me, in the midst of all this news we're talking about, there's biases like everywhere, and we already mentioned, Colin Kaepernick and whatnot. But I'm watching these Patriots highlights, and my man Tom Brady, and take nothing away from his skills, but he's throwing his helmet, he's yelling and cussing at teammates, and like everybody's like, oh, he's passionate. Look at that passion. He's getting his team ready. He's riling them up because they came out slow. Yeah. So why when Cam Newton does it, it's like, dude got anger problems.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, telling it like it is. That's all I'm doing.
That's been going on for a while. I mean, that's
as much as things change, they remain the same.
But anywho, so I thought sports may lighten it up a little bit. That's why I threw that in there.
Good, absolutely. The other thing about Tyrod, and Raisin's a football guy, so you understand that they are waiting for a reason to put Baker in that game.
Yeah,
true that.
Like Tyrod,
me and my boy would text each other.
Sneeze wrong, and they could be like, "Come on."
Me and my boy would text each other about that.
Like, I mean, occasionally you come across athletes, they're good, but it's just something that rub people wrong about them. They always want them on their team, but they're always looking to just put him on the shelf. He's just that guy. His whole career is going to be like that.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
All right, so thank you, fellas. So we'll get back to some more news later on. Max, give us your remembrance, I guess you could say, growing up, as a youth, as a child of Bill Cosby, because one of the things I said was that to this current generation, they don't remember, even before the 70s, the 80s, 90s, up until now, on what he represented. So with accusations that he's under, how does that affect you? Not even about whether it's guilt or innocence, but just as a black woman and having someone who was such a highly esteemed black man.
I was born in the 80s, 1980 as a matter of fact. So I was out in Greene County. I say this all the time. So I wasn't raised to be very aware of black culture or black community and things like that. So I would watch the Cosby Show to a degree, but it didn't really have that much of an effect on me. It was more amusement, honestly. It was more amusement. I didn't look at it and think, wow, Bill Cosby, the ideal this, the symbol of that. I didn't. My
Max,
dad was.
Would you mind, Max, going in a little bit further why you didn't identify with that? 'Cause to me, that's really interesting.
That's good.
I don't think I wasn't in a community that fostered that. I didn't have a household that taught me that. And so that's why I didn't identify with that when I saw it. It was just fun to watch him. There was no lectures on this happened in black history or this person did it. It just was non-existent in my life, really.
And I've heard that before too. You were on two sides of the Bill Cosby equation, and even after that with A Different World, and he had some other spinoffs besides that, but those were like the first big two. But the conversation of either the Cosby Show was just so unrealistic, or it was what we need to aspire to. Yeah, I've heard that before. Like there was
no sense of pride. There was. You actually got embarrassed to have Black history taught in school. Like everybody was looking at you. You was one of maybe two black kids in the class, so it was a very awkward situation. And so I think that contributes a lot to the way that I viewed the show. But raising that question.
Nah, you just said something that sparked. Okay, I know you grow up in Greene County, and I know that the what's the word? The demographic is very slighted. But did you hear what she said? She was ashamed to be taught black history because she was one or two kids that was in the classroom. But we send our kids off to these private schools where they're under the same criteria, but we tell them it's for a better day.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? When you said that, it was like, I wonder how many people are dressing their kids up, putting little uniforms on them, sending them off to these places where they don't fit. They don't feel at home.
That's a great point, right?
And then Well, Max sparked it. See, that's what a good woman do to you. She make your waistline grow and then she spark it back.
I want to say her dude is very lucky.
Who bringing you some tea and lemon?
No, that was Charles. See, Charles is a ventriloquist.
No, but so I do want to draw the distinction between there being a sense of black self-respect and respect, because I certainly was taught that. You know, how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself, different things like that, what that meant, what that looked like. But there just wasn't. So, I watched the Cosby Show for amusement. So to see what's happening to Bill now, I can understand where there are so few positive examples of black people and what they stand for and what they capable of and giving back to the community and things like that, because they're few and far between. I understand what it means to watch one of them fall. Like, you exalted him, and now this is how, one of you mentioned earlier, this is how he's going to end his life in prison, a sex offender and a rapist. So I understand what that does. And I don't. Here's how I feel about it. I don't want to pass judgment either way, because either party could not be telling truth. For Bill, if he's innocent, then of course we all feel like that there's been an injustice done. But on the other hand, if he's done all of these things that these women claim that he's done, then he deserves every minute of it.
That's true.
So I don't stand. I don't.
He's not innocent. Let me tell you, and I'm gonna tell you why he's not innocent. I was very much into comedy. Like when I was coming up as a kid, I was that little kid. They used to sneak and listen to Flip Wilson when my parents were asleep. All that type of stuff. Bill Cosby used to have a skit about Spanish fly. Spanish fly was a drug that they would give women that would make them want to have sex and stuff like that. So but in that time, the 70s, it was common practice. So it's almost like we talking about black people, please don't boycott me. It's almost like we talk about how black people were treated back in the 60s, but we apply it to today's time. It's the same thing. Back then, they used Spanish fly. It was like everybody used it. Yeah,
and I totally get what you're saying, but at the same time, that reminds me of take a gangster rapper that goes on trial. People like using their lyrics to say, well, you must have did this crime. So I'm not going to say that because
Tupac said it first.
But I'm not going to say because he had a joke or a skit that means that he did something in real life.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You might not say it. No, I'm just being honest. It was what they did. It was like when we talk to our grandkids' kids and we start talking about how we were walking around with our tail hanging out in public, they're gonna look at you like you was crazy because it's what you did. Remember, Aaron, how you used to wear your clothes on backwards like Chris Cross?
I didn't do that one, but it sounds like there's a brother in the room that did.
You know what I'm saying? So people gonna look at you like you was crazy. It's what they did. Using drugs at one time. When marijuana, what was that big festival that they had way back in the day? Where they was having sex in the field. Woodstock. Having sex in the field, everybody getting high, smoking drugs. It was a glorious time, is what everybody calls it. But if I pull out something right now and everybody's clothes come off, y'all lock me up. 3 to 10.
Give me this microphone.
Please take it from him.
Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your point.
I don't know.
You don't know where to go after that, do you?
All I'm saying is that I understand examples of black people, whether it be male or female, are exemplary ones are few and far between, and there's even fewer of black men. So I understand what Bill meant to the black community. I get it. But on the other hand, we can't just holler he's been done wrong just because he's black.
Absolutely.
No, I'm totally with you 100%. And we made a disclaimer as well that this was not about trying to justify sexual assault or rape in any way. This was about talking about how a black man can have such a hard fall from grace. So hopefully people got that perspective. But lastly, I'll say I'm sticking with his wife on this one. His wife, out of anybody else in the world, when you talk about public opinion, that's the one that's going to matter the most, when it comes to the public opinion, not those involved in the trial. And she said he's a cheater, but he's not a rapist. That's what Camille said. Camille!
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, I get it, but there's women that'll stand by their man and know they dirty dog wrong.
What's dude from Penn State?
Joe Paterno.
Not Paterno, the other one that was taking the kids downstairs. And the wife was like, she didn't know what. Hey, y'all, I'm honest. Why y'all give me a microphone if y'all want to listen to what I say?
Yeah.
But I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, just because the wife stands beside him used to mean something to me, it don't mean nothing to me no more.
I got you.
You know, because a lot of times they'll do that to save their own face. Mm-hmm. You know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, so Aaron. Real quick before we bring Remy in too, another thing we were talking about was the symbolism of the Confederate flag and George Zimmerman autographing it and signing it. So Nike, I don't think that we really touched on this, but Nike, of course, was getting boycotted and as well for them endorsing and having a contract with Colin Kaepernick. So parents in the room, are y'all still buying your kids Nikes, or you boycotting?
I buy more Nike.
I'm still buying Nike.
And didn't Ford sponsor him too?
Yeah, I bought Nike, but not for that reason.
Yeah, that's.
I was kind of joking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I know y'all.
I wouldn't. Look, so anybody want to burn your Nike size 12? Drop them off at the station. Anybody want to burn up a dually F350? Just drop it off at the station. I'll take care of everything for you.
But Aaron, you had something a little deeper to that story, right? That people are not talking about.
Yeah, Deadspin.com wrote an article, and it was basically talking about how Nike supporting Kaepernick, they didn't do it out of supporting him, but they just did it for business reasons. And I think I set the group a portion of it was that Nike, when Kaepernick, remember when Kaepernick got cut, he wasn't going to be on an NFL team, but he was still on a Nike roster. So Nike is sitting there saying to themselves, how can we can't promote an athlete, we can't even sell a jersey. He doesn't even have a team. Nike was going to put him, they kept him on the payroll. The reason why they kept him on the payroll was because of what? The backlash that they would have received for dropping him. So then, therefore, fast forward a little bit to now, Kaepernick's lawyers actually went to Nike and said, hey, look, you're not going to just keep us on the payroll, but not put us in the forefront, because then it would have been a huge controversy. And Nike didn't want to get looked at like, oh, we're supporting the NFL too. They kind of
figured out how to capitalize on it.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, they kind of said, if we support him, we might isolate this portion of the population, but at the same time, we are going to gain the people that buy the most.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, man. And I was having that conversation with someone exactly about, let's not put Nike up on this pedestal as like there's these great civil activists now. That's a business, and there was a marketing strategy part of that. Like they had to wait for the right time. Absolutely, man. So thanks for that.